Today I'm going to be comparing the heavyweights of the 360 camera world, the Insta360 X5, the reigning champion, and the new GoPro Max 2. GoPro is claiming that they have 21% better resolution for true 8K, so I wanted to compare the cameras head-to-head in a blind test. To do that, I have both cameras here on a pull. Something I need to point out is that the stitch line's not going to be perfect because they are right next to each other. So let's do a blind test and which one looks better here in Hawaii. This video is not sponsored, and I've worked with both companies. I'm currently even working with Insta360 on a different project, but GoPro did send me this to test pre-launch. With the Max 2, I need to say that I used low sharpness, and this made things a little bit soft. You should be using medium or high sharpness to really make things more detailed or sharp, especially on the zoomed in footage. You can really push this Max 2 footage a lot farther, and I go into detail on this as the video goes on. Something I'm noticing right away is that you can move around your screen for previewing on the Insta360 when it's recording, but on the GoPro, it's not touchable to move around that preview, and that's definitely a point for Insta360. Out of the box, the Max 2 is slightly lighter with a more boxy shape, and it has more mounting options with the magnetic mounting, the Q20, and the GoPro fingers. Now, I filmed both cameras at 8K 30 in normal color, in the best settings possible out of box, and for the Insta360 that is -0.3 EV and -0.5 EV for the GoPro Max 2. The GoPro Max 2 is offering true 8K, and it's saying that their sensor is 21% bigger than the X5. Now, unlike the Insta360, it's not AI upscaled, meaning every pixel is real resolution. So why does this matter? The 8K upscaling can give you inaccurate artifacts, especially when you're zoomed in with small details like text. And the Insta360 X5, it advertises 8K as well, but it's achieved through scaling and AI enhancement. So think of it like this. The Max 2 gives you raw detail, while the X5 relies more on computational tricks. But something that drives me absolutely insane with GoPro is how they cripple hammer their own cameras. Like, GoPro, why do you do this? They'll advertise that their camera can shoot 300 megabits per second, but in reality, changing it to high megabits per second out of the box, you get maxed out at 120, whereas the Insta360 X5, you get 180. If you don't know what megabits per second are and why they're relevant, it's essentially a measure of data transfer speed, or like bit rate, and how much information is being recorded and like transmitted or downloaded each second. So essentially, more data equals more details, smoother gradients, and fewer compression, so your shadows aren't muddy and your skies don't get blocky, pixelated, or anything like that. But it's like, why, like GoPro, why do you do something like this? It's to help the camera be more stable with less crashes and improve battery life, but personally, I hate that it's a marketing ploy. And then you have to download GoPro Labs and essentially hack your own GoPro to get the most out of it. Like, please just give me the option out of the box to get the most out of my camera. This is how it's going to be marketed, but do you see the big difference in the footage between the 120 and the 180 megabytes per second? And you might be saying, Connor, well, why aren't you getting 300? Well, to be totally honest, most people aren't going to go download Labs and put in the effort to do this. So I'm testing the best settings out of box that's going to relate to more users. So one of my favorite ways to use a 360 camera is to make it look like it's a drone in places like the state park where it's actually illegal to fly a drone. For me, the biggest difference in the cameras is the color. The Max 2 offers 10-bit and the X5 only does 8-bit. Essentially, this means the GoPro is significantly better color, and you can push your grading a lot further without banding or artifacts being introduced. And a huge win for GoPro that I don't want to understate is that they offer true log in 8K 30, where the X5 does not. This log footage is absolutely incredible, and if you're a professional colorist, this will help you match it to any other camera look or push 360 footage further than anyone's ever seen before. So if you love that cinematic look or you're a pro colorist, the Max 2 is absolutely for you. I'm talking to my R5 Mark II right now, and we're going to do a sound test. This is the Insta360 X2 audio test. What do you think this sounds like? And this is the GoPro Max 2, which They say it has 6 microphones on it, so it should have better audio. Something I really wanted to test is which one has a better stitch line when you're turning the camera a lot. So I'm just gonna be twisting the camera. All right, this is stationary twisting, and then I'm gonna go walk and twist it as well. I don't really use time warp, but I think time lapse with 360 could be kind of interesting because of all the keyframing opportunities that you have.
Because I was borrowing the camera, I wasn't able to test out the star trails, but I think star trails would be absolutely insane here.
All right, we're testing this light from inside this really dark cave into the brightness. The max ISO on both cameras is 1600 right now, and I can see myself in the playback really clearly on the Insta360, but not on the GoPro. So from a playback perspective in camera, right now in person, the Insta360 looks significantly better. This might seem like a dumb test, but I'm gonna do a pocket test and see which one's more comfortable, because when I go snowboarding, I like to shove these in my pockets all over the place, and we're gonna see which one doesn't dig into me more. So I'm actually genuinely surprised. I thought the Insta360 was gonna be a lot more comfortable because it's longer and I thought it would fit into a pocket a little bit easier, but I tried in a bunch of different directions, moved them around and stuff like that. I think because it's a little bit smaller, the weight kind of gets spread out. It's a little dumb test, but for snowboarding, it's something to keep in mind that I'll probably like kind of stab myself or like have less pressure points with the Max 2. So the hike was so warm that I went home and picked up Taylor and Leo, and we're gonna keep our testing going. I thought the beach would be the best place to test the slow motion with Leo. If you're new to 360 cameras, in between every big splash that Leo has, I'm wiping off the lenses and making sure that they're clean for good testing. These circular lenses are an absolute magnet for water drops, and that's why I would never suggest using a 360 camera for surfing.
For slow-mo, I'm disappointed in the Max 2 being downgraded from 10-bit to 8-bit, but that just makes it equal to the X5 in 5K or 4K modes. In 4K slow-mo, the X5 offers a better slow motion at 120 versus 90. So in a 30 frame sequence, you can slow down the Max 2 to 33%, where the X5 can go down to 25%.
Okay, no camera bias in here at all. Does the long tall one look better or the square one?
I think the replay, I actually like the long tall one more because it reminds me of like a phone, like a video on a phone.
Yeah.
So it's like what it would look like if I were to post it on a story or an Instagram reel or TikTok. And it's brighter.
It's way brighter. It's like a full
easier to see.
one and a half, maybe even 2 stops brighter. But with that being said, the EV comp is negative 0.5 on the GoPro and negative 0.3 on the Insta360. So take that into consideration, but we're not seeing that on the playback screens that we're seeing in person right now. The Insta360 is like a full stop right. You're like, shut up with your camera jargon.
Spin this way. This is a prettier view. But yeah, I think I like the vertical one more.
Yeah. It's fair.
Because you have to crop the other one afterwards.
Technically, you have to crop both of them. It makes you feel like you're shooting vertical already with the Insta360
Yeah.
and horizontal already with the GoPro with how their screens are. The last little sliver of light in Waikiki. You tell me which one looks better at sunset here in Waikiki. Now, we're back to the office. Oh, Theo. Distracted by the dog. Come on. As the day has gone on, there's been 2 things that have drove me crazy. There's 2 lens caps for the GoPro, and there's only one for the Insta360, and I swear to God, I know this is such a dumb thing to say, but I like that there's only one lens cap for the Insta360 because as someone who has just so much camera gear, there's one less thing to lose.
Facts.
And then when you're touching the screens, I hate that you can't move the GoPro screen around once you're recording, where the Insta360 you're able to like actually see what you're doing. Yeah, that just drives me absolutely irate as far as like a user experience goes. So yeah.
I do like the start and stop button on the GoPro better though. I just couldn't figure out how to stop the video, which I mean, I don't know.
That's a good point. It's so weird because like as far as a basic user goes, start stop buttons are better on the GoPro, but the actual settings and modes and like touching the screen on the Insta360 is better. As far as low light goes, forgot there was one more test as the light is going away here. Which one of these frames looks better?
All right, let's talk lenses and durability. Both cameras are waterproof out of the box and both have replaceable lenses. But the big difference here is that the Max 2 lenses can be changed just by twisting them off, where the Insta360 has a kit where you're supposed to like wear gloves and like clean it properly to like take it on and off. Personally, this doesn't bother me that much because you should take the time to properly clean and install the new lenses, but it could be a problem out in the field on a project where you need to fix a lens really quickly. Imagine you're at a skate park and bam, you smash this and you just wipe it off with a shirt or a microfiber and then boom, twist on, off, and you're back ready to go. I can see this being really useful for people that are putting their camera in harm's way all the time. So for audio, I didn't test attaching mics or AirPods because that isn't how I personally really use the camera that much. It doesn't impact me a whole ton, but you can attach your AirPods to the cameras, and then also like the DJI mics that I personally use all the time, you can also use those. When I use a 360 camera, I like to keep it as simple and stripped back as possible, and that's the only camera I'm really bringing with an invisible pole typically. So the battery, I didn't really do a comprehensive test, but after testing both cameras essentially equally as the day went on, the Insta360 had slightly better battery, but with the larger sensor and the Max 2, that should be expected. It wasn't a huge difference though, and this wasn't a totally accurate, scientifically proven test, but I'm impressed by both cameras not dying after a full day of testing, to be honest. So which app is better? Realistically, most people are going to be using a phone app with these cameras, but I wasn't able to test which one was better because this is still a pre-production model and I wasn't able to connect to the GoPro app. There are improvements coming to the GoPro app, I do know that, but in the past, I'll be honest, I've always liked the Insta360 app more than GoPro or DJI's, but because this is pre-release, couldn't connect and give it a really proper comparison. So something we absolutely need to talk about is which camera has better accessories, and I personally just cannot even believe that GoPro did this. They're launching a camera to compete with Insta360 and they don't have a dive case for it. Maybe this is my personal bias because I spend so much time in and around the water, but one of my favorite ways to use my 360 camera is in the water, and GoPro isn't even offering a competitive case at launch. I'm really disappointed in this, and I know not everyone really cares about the water shots like I do, but GoPro says that they have a case in development and hopefully that comes soon. I still can't believe that they're not launching something to compete just right off the bat. And if you're not familiar with shooting in the water, the reason that you need a dive case is to push the water farther away from these lenses. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to have a smooth stitch line onto the 360 cameras. And why can't you use these in the water without a dive case? Well, you can technically. You can dive in, they are waterproof without a case, but without being able to push that water away from the lens, it's not really a usable shot. And one thing I'm really curious to see is, will GoPro be able to have just as good of quality with a water casing based off of the shape of the camera, and will that impact the quality or not? We'll see. Something the Max 2 does have that's really nice is the timecode sync. A lot of people use 360 cameras for live events, live DJing that's like 30 minutes, an hour long. And the fact that you can time sync this with all of your other cameras with no other accessories is super nice. The X5 does time sync, but you have to use a mic attachment. For pricing right now, it looks like the Max 2 will actually be $50 cheaper at $500 versus $550 for the base package. But you know, you're going to be getting accessories and all kinds of other stuff like that. So your final price is going to vary a lot. When it comes down to it, essentially the Insta360 is built for social media, being 8-bit, smaller files, and everything being kind of more vertical set up. The GoPro, even the screen is horizontal, and it feels like it's set up for more cinematic use cases. It's definitely better quality color. You're getting a lot more out of the grading as well after playing with some of this footage and pushing it more. As far as the user experience goes, I could see why people are really drawn to the Insta360, just being so much more like vertically oriented, plus the dive housing, etc. But with all that being said, let me know in the comments which one you like more, if anything really stood out to you, if I missed anything as well. And if you like this, please like, subscribe, and comment if you made it this far. Thank you for watching.
Where's our dog?
He's right there.
Come on, Leo.
Come here, Leo.
Come join us. Come on. Oh, there he is. Hi. Which one do you like more, Leo? Oh, good answer.